Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You guys, I want to talk about ancient Egypt. So, people always make their consumptions, and because I'm Nefertiti and I'm here, you guys. So, I want to talk about ancient Egypt. In relationships, you guys, we never, if we knew life was short, why would we cheat around every day of life? But we know life is only temporarily and short. It goes by, it teaches us fast, but why would we overly see life as a short scenario of life to know? But we have so much stuff to see of life and discoveries that life has meant for us to see. So why in a relationship will we choose a partner and then exit a partner just because we want to see a show of what we want to see? Now, that's what slave masters, because the Europeans, when that war happened in ancient Egypt, and of course everything else that happened unfolded in history too, because then of course the Nazis and everything else too happened, and everything else. That's when Hitler said, "I would never excuse the head of the queen. I would never let you have the head of the queen." you know that's when Hitler said that. So how does me I mean, it was a Nazi perspective. I mean, because you guys know I'm the female war king, Nefertiti, I'm me, you guys. So I will stand on my guard, and I will stand and hold my shit down as I have to, of course, you know what I mean, because I'm a grown up too. So you already know I always got to hold myself down, and I talk about my pain, and I talk about things too, and I'm clairvoyant also. So I'm gonna hold my shit down. I got to. Why would I not? Why get myself together too? Because I gotta hold my shit down for me too. Why would I want just one person just to hold me down if I can't hold myself down too? So in ancient times, on acknowledgement, when we're ready for adulthood, that's what we had to do. We had to learn to hold our. That's that caveman day and ages. So we had to learn how to hold ourselves down too. That's when man started making weapons. That's when females started like having children, and bridesmaids started happening. Everything else too. That's when it was like that for us, because it's like anciently we already had everything of manners of what the colonizing fertilization for women and men were. But of course, when my husband Almahentet the fourth went into it, he was my brother. Yeah, you guys. So I'm back, of course. But yeah, just because I had more things that I had to talk about because people had me messed up and they thought I didn't know. That's why y'all like, oh my god. But I pierced my dimples, you guys. So I have a resting face, so. I just, wanted to let the dimples sign out for y'all to see that, that's what they help with, because I have a resting face, because y'all be like, why your face look like that? Because I'm thinking what you thinking. Look, I'm psychic too. See, look, I think the same just like you. Look. Now I only see with one eye. Imagine if I see with only one eye straight. And that's all I could ever see. There's something that's missing, huh? There's something that I can't see. Look. Like if I had two eyes to see, look, wow, so that's how ancient time was. Because you remember huntings and everything else that we had to do. It's like we had to use our animal instincts because, of course, in a survival sense, what would you do in day and night if morning is sky and we're trying to like build something for ourselves and we want to be safe? We, of course, everybody's seeing us in morning. So why would we not want us to be seen by somebody at night? Just to say, hey, at night we go to sleep, and because sometimes in ancient Egypt there would be like bad, of course, because it's ancient. This you guys are talking about modern day medicine, but of course we had modern day medicine too. Okay, so we had natural earthbound medicine that we use of like healing potions and everything else, because we had our witch doctor and everything else of our priestess and everything of the person that was supposed to give us all the medicine used, because we talked to our gods and goddesses, because that's ancient times. But of course, Amenhotep the fourth with me also as his wife. You guys already know we made only that worship of one person of God, because we just made that as our balance. So I just let you guys see the face too. So I am here, you guys, just so y'all know. But it's just on the overview, it's just me just speaking of knowledge of like ancient times, because I'm here and I'm honoring my ancient times. Like, yes, of course, we built a lot of things, but it got us here where we are in the 21st century. What you would say is 3,500 years later, But in a beast number, it was a perfect manner for the situation, the right perfect time. So 666 was a perfect time for the ancient conquest of what civilization we learned for our conquest of worshiping, and what our conquest were was to live every day as. And that's why, as a spiritual contact and as a spiritual therapist, I help my clients see the viewpoint in a brighter light of day. Because I was from ancient times, so I know as a woman what the protocols a woman has to be for her husband, of course. Be strong, be secure. Of course, I'm the masculine type, and that's what a lot of other senior men also understood too. But they didn't like that, of course, because there's the bigger, had took the fourth with me, like traditions that we are working for of a bigger viewpoint for God worshiping. And of course, I'm keep it spiritual. Of course, I'm a spiritual person. I have to be, because I can only see what I can only see, and I can't say a name that I cannot see. But I respect your viewpoints, but Jesus' name, I know, but my name, viewpointing, thinking, I can't see what I cannot see. So I worship day and night, because day and night is what I could see for myself to believe. So I know in my healing disease for myself, I will heal in day and night, because I have to heal. I have to heal each day, so I force myself to heal each day. Each day as I go on as life coaching and everything else I do in my life too. There's a purpose of what I have to do. So ancient times, we talk about ancient things. So this is basically, you guys are knowing my name too. I'm a spiritual woman, and you guys know I came from the ancient time of civilization. Of course, you guys know what other medias want to say about my name. Of course, like Pop Smoke, mood swings, where everybody else want to say I have mood swings, like I don't know how to handle myself appropriately as an adult. No, that's just a show, because the show had to be played, because people were trying to play a show in the end that I had to show that I know how to play. So yeah, but that's what that was. That was me handling my business, because there's a show that they didn't know I know how to play too, and that's that show of the bigger game. So that's just me coming back to let everybody know that yes, Nefertiti has arrived, and the beautiful woman is here. I am the beautiful woman has come. I have came again, because it's the second reason why I was born. That's why it's like, so I'm educating from ancient perspectives too, from 3,500 years ago, so you guys know when the pharaohs and queens and kings were living in this world. That's basically me just letting you guys know from ancient time perspectives of what we developed and what we've grown and what we acknowledge too. And of course, after the war and everything else from the Europeans invading Egypt, of course, you remember then there was a breakdown that happened, because now history was unfolding a different lesson, of course. And then my son being young, and he was only eight, he was 9 or 8 years old when he took the throne and everything else as such. In ancient times in Egypt too, so they changed his name to Tukum and Amen, because the god worshiping of Amen was the only thing that the best viewpoint, but we had his name as Tukum and Aten. That's what's his name, worship under the horizon of Aten, meaning each day and night we see the horizon of Aten each day and night. So he came from the source of each day and night for us, but they didn't like that, so that's when they named him as Tukum and Amen, to rename him, to make sure he didn't get no press or no heat based on his name. So that's basically those viewpoints too, because I'm from ancient times. So when you guys speak to me, it's you see what you see, but I am Nefertiti, and I do have Muslims, you guys, but I know how to perceive what I have to see too. So no, like there's more acknowledgments on those questions to know those viewpoints too, because in ancient times, you remember, ancient times revealed we had a lot of pain that we went through. Ancient, you remember, and my brother, he was my brother too, and we came from the ancient times of when, like, like we didn't know for right and wrongs of relationships and stuff. So we knew that, okay, but first cousins was like the best way for us to keep our thematic of structure and a viewpoint. Of course, remember, we're ancient. Remember, we're trying to find happiness just like you're trying to find happiness in modern day. So of course we're like, well, first cousins. We marry in first cousins. But of course people have their own viewpoints on that too, but of course, but that's in ancient times how it was. So we married through first cousins, and then after that it became me and my brother, because that was the ending of our ending of ring, because then we had six daughters. I'm not going to get into their names because their names are really complicated for me to pronounce in American English language. I respect my daughters and I will have their names respected, best believe. I respect my son and I will have my son name respected by me also. But I know how to say my son's name, of course. Because of course, why wouldn't a woman not know how to say her son's name around those type of times too that we're going through? So why wouldn't a woman know how to say her name of her son? What? You see that that there was a lot of debate about what the name was. Then if we hear about then if we hear about Amenhotep the fourth, and everything else, of course, why would we want his name? Because I can't say his name. It's King King Aten type of way. Because it's like King Aten. I can't say his name pronouncing. I know my name as Nefertiti, and of course, that's why it's easier for me. But I know Amenhotep the fourth. That's his name. His name is Amenhotep the fourth. That was that last king that was ruling on that ancient times. That was not established as such of names, and that's why I'm here again to remember times on those viewpoints too, to let you guys know that yes, ancient times happened, and I am a real person too. I mean, this is not like, oh no, Nefertiti's not really here. Like, yes, this is me, you guys. I am here, you guys. So it's like, what was the people thinking about in ancient times too? Yes, of course. That's why they kept sharing in Hebrew language, because of course, when slavery happened and everything else in the Europeans' times, of course, you remember they made slavery, and that's what bring like the background of more like what would be acceptable of color, which is not acceptable, slavery type days is, and of course slave masters and everything else that happened in times for where a woman empowerment was like it was a dampened effect for a woman because I lead the revelation of healing for both women and men, because it's like uh, what would you be in the both party suit for your man and for your wife, type of viewpoint, because that's what we viewed as like ancient time perspective, as core knowledges for us to know what we know every day and night, how life was for us to believe too. It's like this is the person that was meant for you. This was the person you have to grow with, and this is the person that will teach you. But of course, different rulers and everything else perspective have their own viewpoints and stuff too. Of course, like Hombre, my military professor, like, because he was the military in ancient times, he's the military like person sergeant. So in ancient time, Humphrey is the military sergeant, meaning he's our official command in the Pharaoh ringing of thinking, meaning he was the one who take care of all our military pursuits too. Of course, it's the ownership of Pharaoh that viewpoint too, where they have to communicate to him too. But in a military sergeant, you respect your military sergeant in ancient times because ancient times were taught modern man, today's times of thinking too for men. So that's how Hombre was to us. Okay, so Hombre was our military official, and then A, was my uncle. That's who A was. I already have my background. Everybody knows that, yes, Nefertiti was Amenhotep the fourth's sister, and I am his birth mother to his son also, of the last king that ruled also. So I am the last source of his royal bloodline. I am the royal bloodline. I left my viewpoint as like that's the end to that viewpoint because I made a quote that says nothing lasts forever. Nothing in life is forever. And we all know this as a grown up too, that nothing lasts forever. So in our pursuit of happiness in ancient times, we made things last like it was forever. But in of course there was different discriminations, of course. We had upset kingdom, of course, because yeah, but overall perspective, that's the reason why Nefertiti's name is meanings. The beautiful woman has came again to talk about those thinkings of ancient times, of what ancient times gave us of acknowledgement, of course. But I'm a spiritual woman, you guys. You can view life and day, I really know, in a healing way for myself. I know light and day was the healing disease. That was my purpose, because I know that for myself, I know that life will heal me more if I know each day and night was an equal balance for me to know that there's a reason why I woke up and there's a reason why I fell asleep and the pretend of all the things that are happening too, and not in like the situation, like the environmental. Each day and each night, there's a memory that I'm gonna take deeper from that night. There, each day and each night, there's a deeper meaning that's supposed to be me for me to know. whatever teaching you want to be taught, you could be taught. But in the teaching for spirituality, each day and each night brought me the teachings I learned from myself in ancient times too, to secure myself and self defend myself. And each day and each night, that secured me also, in life too, to know that life is very precious. In ancient times, we know that too, but you guys have modern medicine. We have modern medicine, that's why I work with medicine deities. Yeah, you guys see like the scar that I had, like, it's healing. Yeah, because of course I made prayers to, my deities, of course, and I have all the viewpoints on that, but it's not fully healed yet. It's healing, but it's on the stage of healing. So I just take little photos so you guys can see like the ends effect. And of course, I worked with the medicine goddesses because, we worshiped different goddesses because we know that there's only one God that's the creator God of everything. But that gives us meaning each day and night. So that's that. But of course, I respect your view, but I know my view. So that's why I'm talking about my life coaching, because this is why it's my channel. That's why you guys wanted to know who Nefertiti was and know about Nefertiti. So each day and night brought meaning to us for a purpose. In ancient times, we were sick, yeah, of course, but we were injury, yeah, because, different like genetic backgrounds that happen. Like, of course, like all of my daughters, we had like arches in our back and everything else. And like, of course, because we believe in like ancient times, what we believe in was sex and death. Because it's ancient, that's all what we believe in. It's rebirthing because of viewpoints, because that's like of a manner of like what you would think that there's another life from here thinking. But of course, I know what my husband did was people's ending on that monster ministry, so it's like, yeah, I know, I understand, I know. I don't understand it like those viewpoints because it's a modern day times, but I know in ancient times I still understand when I look back into the acknowledgement too of everything my husband and me did, because of course I have to reflect on that for the Middle Eastern countries too, what they want to understand about everything too, to know that yes, my son was Tukuminatun, that was my son, that was my birth son with my brother. Amenhotep the fourth was my husband. That was my husband. That was the king and the ruler of Egypt too. And then Amenhotep the third, that was my dad. That was who I was birthed by. Queen Tai, that was my mother. That's who birthed me into this creation of life. In this life, of course, this is the second coming. That's why, genealogically and everything else, the designment of how God purposely viewed of me coming back equally a manner. So, throughout all ancestry now knowledge too. Because remember, after slave masters came all of those gender blending. It's like not gender blending because of course I started that because masculine female type. Because everybody views my husband Amenhotep the fourth, as a female mix of man. No, it's not that. That's what made him cruel, you guys. He's 100% man. Like yeah, he may have his genetic birth defect. I talk about it in this life too because I have a sexual development disorder too. So I know as an intersex woman, I understand about those stories too because in modern times, in ancient times, we didn't know what it was. We just know he popped out as he popped out, but we knew what he was birthly because he looked like a man. But overall, because that's ancient knowledge, what we discovered, first, what everybody else want to take in part of what a woman's role should feel like and what a man's role should be too. Because in ancient times, we knew that we both know that we both have to survive and take care of each other, but in a partnership agreement too. Because remember, like it's like each day and night is supposed to make us know that the meaning for us is to know that in our relationship, are we purposeful thinking for our conquest of life and everything else in a healing way for us to achieve, So it was always those focusements, So that's why it's like, no, my kids, my daughters, and stuff like that. Yes, alchemy, yeah, they have some ancient times of names, so, it's like, so yeah. But, alchemist cinnamon, I put, and, because it's like, yeah, yes. Everything else, yes. Now you see where she got the looks from, too, right? My daughters, yeah. But I had my son, too. That was my birth son, also. So you guys know in ancient times, women weren't like, because especially when we were trying to be masculine, and you're trying to raise higher heights as woman empowerment, that's why in now modern times men have their viewpoints because what slave masters want for women versus what women want for women, So as a woman's era of time, because we're not going back in ancient life, we're only going to go forward from life because we know about what ancient times taught us of history. So we know what we want as a woman, reasoning or why we keep pushing for what we need to push for in life. From getting ourselves together, from breaking down, from whatever mistakes and everything else we have to go through from life, and coachment that we have to go through and face from each party that we talk to. We know what message we need for us to take in more, and I'm ancient. So, of course, as a woman empowerment coach too, because that's what I was then too. I was a woman. I was like of course, Hatshepsut, of course, but she had the realization of a woman as a like like yeah, because of course her son was celebrated, of course, but my brother wasn't celebrated in ancient Egypt. Nah, no, everybody remembered his name, but they forget my name because they don't want to remember me. Why? Because they remember my anger and they remember everything because they said, "Oh yeah, Nefertiti gets mood swings." Like yeah, and I fought the whole world. But no, there was a purpose what happened in that conversation of what made me mad on those manners. Because, of course, if you're going to flip a switch on me, I have to flip a switch on you. Because, of course, you know what I mean? That type of manner. So, yeah, and everything else I know and everything else I noticed to be true too. Because I'm psychic and I can see and I have foreseen. That's why it's like beast. I'm a beast because I could foresee these common knowledge of agreements too that I can already see. So yeah, that's what made me fight the whole world. Of course, in history, I know, like, yeah, I'm in your history books. You guys, the younger lady. Yeah, I know in modern times, you guys know me as younger lady. But Nefertiti was the younger lady because, of course, I was hated because, other things of being a woman, an empowered woman, and everything else we were going for in life. Of course, Nefer for, and you know what I mean? Of course, so yes, of course, we were hated, of course, because we want, it's always a signal of who God is. And as you know, from ancient time, from 3,500 years from time, we had worship Amen. We worship a goat as our main statue of God because that was an ancient that's what we believe, as God, because it's ancient times. We made, all the goddesses as their creations, like lions, tigers, bears. We know because they're goddesses still. They're gods and goddesses. Because in their mind they're surviving too, but they talk too. Because if they have children, you see the mother cub protects her child. So the mother cub protects her child. Yeah, so of course, that's why we noticed that in their animalistic type of inspiration for humoristic type of thinking. So, that's why we worship them as goddesses and gods, but we already know every day they rule for one foundation, of course. There's only one higher source that they all wake up to still today, too, in morning times and in night. So, of course, and then as a spiritual coach and as a therapist and everything else as such, I already have my background of the acknowledgments of agreements that they want me to agree to talk about too. So of course, in ancient times, it's like I talk about everything from ancient all the way to modern because of course that's why I'm a spiritual coach. I'm spiritually coaching you and I'm life coaching you too from ancient times to modern day perspectives. I don't need the heat. That's what other things else is. There's curses, those viewpoints, if those thinking, if that's the object of thinking, type of thinking, those viewpoints will be, then of course that's that thinking, of course. But if you're thinking more of an overview, moving forward type thinking to understand more and grow more with like acknowledgments and thinking of patterns that I teach about, and I particularly talk about in each setting. Of course, I have a learning disability, of course. So reading and writing was hard for me. I had to oversee myself in a better lighting because I am an adult now. I'm not a child, of course. I graduated from college, yes, on time. I didn't get my license for skincare because I was going to be a skincare professional, because of course, you guys know I made my own beauty standard, and I made my own makeup from ancient times. So of course, what other school would I want to do as modern time? Because remember, you're still in ancient life, you're still, because your heart is like the biggest value of life because your heart has all your feelings and all your emotions and everything as such, because that's the reason why afterlife is the second reason that, oh, our soul just keeps going. But where would your soul be lead by? Your soul is led by your heart. That's why our hearts are the most valuable source to us, because our hearts is what leads us to know what God's truth was for us each day at night. So we know as our heart beats, there was a purpose why it beat for us to wake up again. So in ancient times, our heart is the celebration of our feelings. Because, of course, in ancient times, we knew, you know what I mean? It's like we feel very fearful and we have emotions. So, of course, that must be the biggest arousing of the next life. So, our heart is what we have to protect because in the conquest of everything else we were facing in life, remember, in life is life, but the teachings that life give each day and night gives us more meaning for what directions we need to go forward. And knowing that I know for myself and healing for myself in a healing disease manner for myself too, I know that in day and night, I know that I have to live my purpose each day and night. So what's my purpose of view? What do I need to heal from? What is the journey that I need to heal from recovery? What is the setback that always set me back to heal from? All of those viewpoints. So an acknowledgement for what I know, it's just more into like overall viewpoints, so it prospectively think on my healing of what I need to grow into healing, instead of anger, because anger is a natural feeling. There's a reason why we experience anger. I am a therapist also, and I have a constructive behavioral therapist certification also. And I have a multitude of different certifications. Also, I have a certification in psychology. It's a certification. I got certifications because a diploma was too long of reach. Because remember, in ancient times, we know that life was short. So why would we wait for the perfect moment to make everything feel like it's now a better viewpoint for us to be of what we need to grow into? So